Hi everybody, I'm Donna Stinger and this is For Such a Time as This. Today I am just not prepared and I almost just came on here to just tell you that I wasn't going to have a video ready, and then I realized I need to tell you how I've been doing with my eating, and I felt like after praying that I could share with you a little bit about what got me to this point. I think some of you might be able to relate to this. So like I said, this last couple of weeks, we've had a lot of stress happening. A lot of good things too. Some hard things, but some good things. But normally that would cause me to just keep snacking. And I've actually caught myself and not done that. So that's a good thing. I'm growing and learning just like all of you. So what got me to this place? What got me to the place where I am overweight and unhealthy and have diabetes and all of that? Well, you watch my testimony on Facebook. I talked about abuse. I talked about being abused as a child. For a long time, I didn't say anything. I didn't understand that what happened to me wasn't normal, or wasn't what was supposed to happen. My family was the family that we looked like we had it all together. Our house was always tidy. We went to church. We looked like we were the family that had it all. It wasn't until college, well, growing up even, like our house being clean was, I got home from school. Before I would even attempt to do schoolwork, I had to make sure the house was picked up before my mom came home. That included like vacuuming the floor, making sure there were lines in the carpet, making sure even my parents' bed was made. I mean, I just got home, I run and do all that before I could even touch on homework. And so when that didn't happen, my mom would come home and yell at me and call me names. So I quickly learned things were about appearances. Things were about how you looked. Things were about people pleasing. I learned that if I just did what everyone wanted me to do, there was less abuse. People called less names. It was just easier. Life was easier. It was so much to the point that I didn't know who I was. I knew who other people thought I was, and I knew who I wished I was, but I couldn't have told you who I really was. So it wasn't until college that I even started working on any of it. And when I went in to talk to my therapist, I started out with a memory that was the hardest memory for me. And so I told her about it. And she told me, Donna, that's abuse. And so anyway, I told my mom about it. And my mom told everybody about it. And, sorry. So, my Grammy called me, told me I was a damn liar, and that I ruined people's lives. So, I stopped talking. So, years later, I am working on overeating. And I started going to Celebrate Recovery. And during Celebrate Recovery, I started kind of connecting dots and realizing, hey, that's not normal. It's pretty shocking to me when I would share different aspects of my testimony with my group, and the women in my group would be sitting there with their mouths wide open. And then someone would start to tell their testimony and they'd say, well, it's not like as bad as Donna's, but. And I remember thinking, well, it's not that bad. And what I've come to realize is we minimize what happened to us to be able to cope with it. So, anyway, I became a stress eater. I had no outlet. I had nowhere to go with that. All my years of homeschooling, I remember going into co-ops, and one particular time, we were doing a geography class. One of my daughters was in this geography class. And in this class, there were the things we had to get done for the week to be prepared for the class, and then there were extra things that you could just do if you wanted to. I remember there were moms that every single week they were getting the extra things done too. And here I am barely getting the regular geography lesson done and homeschool done. And I'm thinking, how are these moms pulling this off? I have to be the worst mom. What in the world is going on? Well, what I've come to realize is I was already going in with having a huge amount of weight to carry around. I was already dealing with PTSD. And a lot of those moms, they weren't necessarily, or they had help. I know of a mom that her grandparents come and help with stuff. So I didn't have all that. And so, but I would kick myself for, well, I can't get this done. What's wrong with me? How are these people going and doing school? Like, they talk about doing school sometimes at night. And I was like, we get up and get school done because at 3:00, I'm done. I don't want to do any more school. What is wrong with me? And I realized I was getting the minimum done, but I didn't feel like I got anything else accomplished. And it's taken me a long time to realize that I was getting accomplished probably actually more than a lot of those moms were, because I was dealing with my PTSD. Part of my testimony that I shared was a few years back, my girls came to me and started talking about some things that they had happen to them with my family, my mother specifically. And so I was dealing with my own PTSD. I was dealing with their PTSD, and I was trying to get school done. And on top of that, I'm trying to learn coping skills and teach them coping skills, learn how to parent, because I didn't want to parent the same way my mother parented. So I every book I could get my hands on, I read about that. I asked older people at church, I asked other moms, what do you do with this situation? Constantly trying to figure out how to parent in a godly manner. So, if you're dealing with all of that, you're looking at these other people and you're seeing they're doing all these things. They're doing all these, getting all this stuff done. They don't have the same weight that you have to carry. They don't have the same responsibilities you have to carry. If they even went through what you went through, maybe they're further along on their healing than you are. And that's okay. It's okay to be where you're at. It's okay to get done what you have to get done and then be done. It's okay. You don't have to be like them. You have to be the best you can be. And so one of my daughters is a senior, and she wanted spring pictures done. So we did pictures yesterday because the weather hasn't been cooperating. So we finally were able to get them done yesterday. And as I was thinking through for her party and all of that, like a table, how would you put a table down for this? Because, not every kid has all these these book things and all these awards from the community, and I realized what the world looks for isn't what God looks for. This kid has, she's overcome so much. And it's more of eternal value, not a worldly value of the things that she's accomplished. It's not something I can lay out on a table and show people. It's things that God's kept record of and God's impressed by, but the world may not be impressed by. So thinking through that, I realized most of us are walking around like that. Most of us are walking around, and what we can show the world isn't impressive to the world, but it's impressive to God. The things that we're working on overcoming aren't necessarily the things that will impress people, but it impresses God. And so if you're walking around and you're walking around with PTSD, like I was for so many years, it was so bad. I was such a people pleaser. I didn't even know what my favorite color was. And I know that sounds so crazy. I didn't know what my favorite color was. I just went along with what everybody else said. Oh, yeah, I like green. Oh, yeah, green's pretty. It is. I like green. It's pretty. Oh, I like orange. Oh, yeah, I like orange too. It was probably 3 years ago. I realized what my favorite color is. It's turquoise, light blue, robin's egg blue. I love light blue colors. I like dark blue too, but I love light blue. So it took a long time for me to get there. And so if you're walking around with that baggage and you're walking around thinking, wow, I'm so messed up. I can't fit in. I don't fit in because I'm so messed up. You are not. You're not either. You're not that messed up. What happened to you was messed up. But you're not messed up. You have the ability to overcome it and be better. So I just wanted to tell you that I know it's short, but trust God in what's going on. Trust Him to help you through it. I started overeating as a coping skill. You can't be called names and be gaslighted and, endure some physical and sexual abuse without having some unhealthy coping skills. So I'm having to learn still healthy coping skills. I'm having to teach my family healthy coping skills. I was talking to a friend the other day, and she was talking about this book, and I've seen this book, and neither one of us have read it, so I don't know if it's any good, but it said on the cover, what if God had you married, not, I might mess it up, but essentially, what if God has you being married not to make you happy, but to make you holy? And she said, I really think that applies to being a parent too. And I thought through, yeah, it really does. Because being a parent's going to show you your flaws. You're going to see them in your children. You're going to see your children say what you say or do what you do. And sometimes you're proud and sometimes you're like, oh my goodness. So I've thought about that a lot in the last couple of weeks. And what kind of legacy am I leaving for my kids? If I died tomorrow, what would they have to say about me? And the honest truth is, I think my children can honestly say, my mom has worked hard on learning to be a mom. She's worked hard on learning what that looks like, what God wants her to do. She's spent a lot of time on her knees figuring that out, and not letting what happened to her be what she did, what she became. So anyway, I'm just going to leave that there. I know that this is kind of just a jumbled up mess today, And sorry for that, but if you are dealing with any sort of trauma, a heartache, it's easy to grab pizza or ice cream or any of those things. But take it to God. Take it to God and let Him help you with it. So I'm going to end here. I hope you all have a great weekend and a great Shabbat. And I will talk to you next week. Bye.